Okay, I've had enough of this. You're done. What are you doing? You're done. Put your arms behind your back. Put your arms behind your back.
The video is gut-wrenching. An 11-year-old girl, a male police officer, and a 6-minute struggle that's sending shockwaves through the Farmington police force.
I was angry. That's not who we are.
Stand up!
To understand how we got here, we have to go back to the morning of August 27th at Mesa View Middle School.
Hey, I got a student up here at Mesa View that is refusing to do anything anybody says.
That's the voice of Farmington police officer Zachary Christensen, who walked the halls of Mesa View as a resource officer for the past 4 years. Here, he's talking about a 6th grade student who's in trouble.
This morning, she went straight to the cafeteria. She took more milks than she was supposed to. She threw her milk on the ground.
At this point, the girl is waiting for her mom to pick her up. We are concealing her face and identity because she's a minor.
The vice principal and principal have been following her around.
According to Officer Christensen's field report, the child assaulted 2 school employees. But take a look at the lapel camera footage. This is what the officer claimed was the first assault, as the student walks past the assistant principal. And this is what the officer says was the second assault.
Can't push him out of the way.
The girl tries to move past the principal to open the door. Then, Officer Christensen loses his patience.
Okay, I've had enough of this. Take your bag off. Take your bag off. You're done. You're done. You're done. You're not going to assault the principal.
The officer's lapel camera is knocked to the ground, but a school employee repositions it, capturing what happens next.
Put your arms behind your back. Put your arms behind your back.
Ow! My arm! Get off me! Ow!
Yes.
My arm!
I was just wondering if you were going to send anyone upstairs. Yes, I actually had a sub just
Turn over! Turn over!
Yes.
Do not resist! Do not resist! Stop resisting! Stop resisting!
Please stop resisting.
Stop resisting! Just stop, man. Stop resisting! Stop! Put your arms behind your back!
Let's let her stand up.
The school administrator continues telling the officer to allow the girl to get up.
Officer Christensen, she is not a threat to yourself or others at this moment. You need to allow her to stand.
She is!
In the report, the officer writes, quote, "She was very strong, stronger than I was." Again, a school employee tells the officer this has gone too far.
Sir, we are not going to use excessive force to get this done.
We're not excessive!
She's an 11-year-old girl, and it's a shock to the system to see that this is a thing that can occur at a school by a certified peace officer.
Attorney Mark Kernut is representing the student and her mother. They're now taking legal action against both the city of Farmington and the school.
When you have a situation where there's a report that says a felony is committed, another felony is committed, and then you review the factual documentation you have of that through the video, and it doesn't add up, then there must be a level of accountability.
When I contacted the Farmington Municipal School District, a spokesperson told me they could not comment on pending litigation nor on personnel matters. However, they just sent us this statement. Quote, "FMS administration is reviewing this incident with the intent of putting into place procedures and practices to prevent another instance like this." Meanwhile, at Farmington Police Headquarters, Chief Stephen Hebby tells us this video immediately triggered an internal investigation into Officer Christensen's conduct.
I was angry. You know, that's not our standards. That's not who we are. That's not how we train.
Why are you pushing me?
Because you are not free to leave now!
Why?
Because!
Why?
I said so! You're being charged!
Okay, well, give
With
me a
assault! With resisting!
Those charges against the student ultimately didn't stick, and Officer Christensen was placed on administrative leave the very next day. What would you say to those folks who see an officer, someone in a position of power, taking those actions?
Stuff like this is tough for the citizens to take. There's no doubt about it. As a chief, you know darn well
that this is a failure for us.
Our 4 Investigates team has learned following the department's internal review, Officer Christensen was slapped with 2 violations for violating use of force policy and for unsatisfactory performance.
It's such a mess because we didn't follow the things that we know we should have been following. You know, we've been training on this. We talk about de-escalating. We talk about slowing things down. You know, and that didn't happen here.
Was he up to date on his training?
He was.
Still, the chief says the department moved quickly to discipline the officer.
Unfortunately, we did view the discipline as likely to be very serious, and the officer separated effective October 1st.
So he resigned?
He did.
Now, I spoke with Officer Christensen on the phone. He did not want to comment. Now, it's important to note that he has not been criminally charged, but this case has been referred to the San Juan County District Attorney's Office to consider possible charges. Nathan O'Neill, 4 Investigates.
The question was what to do if the person's on their back, right, Glenn? Yes, sir. Person's on their back and they're not giving you the, they're not cooperating with you. They're not really being aggressive, but they're not cooperating with you, okay? I'm gonna show it on this side. So usually what I'm gonna do if maybe this is like a passive resistance type of scenario where it could be passive or active, but the guy's just not giving you his hands here, okay? I'm gonna attack this top arm. Whatever arm is on the top is the one I'm going to attack, okay? And the move that I highly suggest every law enforcement officer go to, familiarize themselves with, is the Kimura. Very solid. So I'm gonna go here, and I'm gonna slide my hand in and control my wrist. Now from here, I'm gonna use the blade of my leg here, my shin, against his neck, not to really cause any damage or pin him down, but more of a control position. Okay, you gotta be smart. If you're 200 pounds and the person you're doing this to is 110 pounds, you don't wanna smash him here because you're gonna cause some damage, and you are utterly responsible for the damages that you inflict on the person. Okay, so I'm here, controlling here. From here, if he's holding on to his arm, it's going to be rather easy to break this grip here. Now, I have options, okay? First option, maybe it's a passive resistance guy here. I'm not gonna rip his arm off, but what I can do here is I can go here and control the wrist. Look, I just go here, I control, grab the 4 fingers, go over, I control here, and I'm gonna start to place his hand behind his back. As I do this, I start to lift him up. Sit up, sir. Sit up, sit up, sit up, sit up. Look, hand goes right behind the back. Put your other hand behind your back, other hand behind your back, and you're ready to go right into a handcuffing position. Really easy to do. Second one that we can do here, okay? Maybe this is somebody a little bit more, you wanna have a little bit more control, somebody a little bit more riskier, danger of escaping or so. I'm gonna continue with the Kimura. So I'm gonna go here, and now from here, I'm gonna start push to the outside. Very important thing. You want the top hand to be able to push in the Kimura, not the other way around. You're stronger pushing than you are pulling. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Boom, top. I release this, I start turning him over. Sir, turn over to your stomach. Now, from here, I pin the arm against my chest. Look, I go right to the wrist. Hand behind your back, hand behind your back, hand behind your back. Boom. Right into handcuffing right here. Good control here. Okay? I know it seems like the shin is against the neck, but really I have it on his back here. Okay? I try to avoid the neck whenever it's possible. And I have good control here. So again, right from the beginning. Okay, passive resistance, I go inside here, shin up, I shoot my arm extra high inside, and I grab right here. Place the hand behind his back, start sitting him up, sit up, sit up, sit up, sit up, sit up, sit up, hand behind your back, and you go into your handcuffing. More violent type of guy, I'm gonna go here, boom. Sir, roll over to your stomach, roll over to your stomach, roll over to your stomach. I can maintain the Kimura and then control with the wrist. Other hand behind your back, other hand behind your back. And talk to him. Tell him what you want him to do.
When the scripture says that this beast, this heathen system, would have no regard for our elders, no regard for the men, the women, the children, boys and girls, no regard for our seniors, the ones with the hoary head, meaning gray hair. This is what you observe with full, up-to-date, illustrated, in living color example of what the scripture says about the heathen, the Gentile heathen that has no regard for Hebrew Israelites, Negroes. Deuteronomy 28. Deuteronomy 28. Let us see what the scripture says about our people. Let's scroll down to this verse, the 49th verse. And it says, Yahweh shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand, a nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of old, nor show favor to the young. I want you to memorize that verse, the 50th verse. A nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of old, nor show favor to the young. Shalom. In this news article from Blavity News, you could go to blavity.com/new-mexico-police-officer-who claimed 11-year-old black girl he manhandled was stronger than him. He resigns? ? So, let's see what this report says. KOB4 reports that during the incident, a school administrator repeatedly told Christensen to get off of the student. Officer or cop Christensen, she is not a threat to yourself or others at this moment, the school employee said. The officer or cop then responded, no, she is. In Christensen's report afterward, he wrote, she was very strong, stronger than I was. Let me help you understand something. An 11-year-old girl, an 11-year-old child, an 11-year-old kid, an 11-year-old underage minor is not physically stronger than a well-trained cop. He's a cop. He's a criminal of the political system. He's a cop. He committed a crime. He physically assaulted a minor. He physically assaulted an underage child. He physically assaulted a human being that was totally defenseless, while he himself had a gun, he had a taser, he had handcuffs, he has physical training. He's been trained how to physically take down an adult, how to physically take down a man that is physically engaging him. There is no way in the world he has a legal leg to stand on and claim that an 11-year-old girl was stronger than he was. If that's the case, then he has no business wearing the so-called blue shield. He has no business being a police officer, and he cannot physically protect himself from an 11-year-old child. And that 11-year-old child made 0 attempts to attack him. 0. And to go with, this 11-year-old child was screaming, "You are hurting me. You're hurting my arm." Now, I want you to take another look at this video. I'm going to show you in this video, this cop, he used a MMA move, a mixed martial arts move. There's no way in the world this guy does not know how to de-escalate this child without putting his hands on her. In this article, it says, she's an 11-year-old girl, the attorney says. And it's a shock to the system to see that this is a thing, or this is a thug cop. Okay, that's what they should have said. This is a thug cop. And he caused this occurrence to happen at a school. And he's supposed to be a certified police officer with a peace certification. PEACE certification. He's supposed to be a certified peace officer. Right now, I request the Negro Israelite Fund. I request that this child is to receive a minimum of $32 million. She has been physically damaged by this public office that they call the police department. She's been emotionally damaged. She's scarred for life, and she's made a public shame. This is a spectacle lynching. Why is it a spectacle lynching? Because this child is all over the media, all over this country, being made ashamed of by more than 300 million people. She deserves a minimum of $32 million without charged a dime in tax, without charged a penny in tax. $32 million is where they should start bringing up the charges.
What are you doing? You're done.
Put your arms behind your back. Put your arms behind your back.
The video is gut-wrenching. An 11-year-old girl, a male police officer, and a...
That's called emotional damage. She's mentally scarred for the rest of her life. Physically assaulted by an adult man. Not an adult man as becoming her father who's chastising her, but she was physically assaulted by a stranger, an adult male stranger. This is physical assault. This is assault and battery. You see right here, he's got his hand underneath her armpit. He's holding on to the inside of her wrist. That is a mixed martial arts takedown. Look at his shoulder leaning into the back of her arm. That is a mixed martial arts takedown move. He's physically assaulting her right now. He is a stranger. She is a child. She's an underage student at that school. She's a minor. She's not even 15, 16 years old. She's 11 years old, and he's handling her like she is a criminal on the street. And he's assuming that she is supposed to resist him. See, this is the assumption. Look right here. He's assuming she's resisting. He's telling her to stop resisting. How is she resisting and she's laying on the ground? She keeps screaming, "You're hurting me." He's saying, "Stop resisting." She's not resisting. Look at his shoulder. That's an MMA mixed martial arts move. You can ask any MMA wrestler, okay, or even a professional WW wrestler, any of those guys that's in the wrestling business or Greco-Roman wrestling, they will tell you that is a professional wrestling move. That guy is well skilled and trained at what he's doing. Okay? They even advise that he wrestled her down to the ground. I profess to y'all the Negro Israel Fund. I profess to y'all that this child should receive a minimum of $32 million. Minimum of $32 million. And she will be enrolled in any elite Ivy League university in this country, and her parents, her immediate family in their household will also receive $32 million each. They have to walk the streets of this country for the rest of their lives with this brutal physical assault from a cop on the property of a school where their child is supposed to be safe. And he said that the child was resisting him. The child was not resisting him. And he said that the child was stronger than he was. It's not possible that 11-year-old child was stronger than he was, and he is a trained professional, and he used a professional wrestling or professional mixed martial arts takedown and an arm bar and a wrist lock. He used those moves in order to inject pain on this child. So she deserves pain and suffering. So she deserves a minimum of $32 million. Okay? She has mental anguish, $11 million. She has physical pain and suffering, another $11 million. And she has a lifetime of public humiliation. That's another $10 million. Give this child her $32 million and give her parents their $32 million.